Well, hi everybody. Thanks for joining us today. So, my name is Sonia Bunarjin, and I'm the product manager at Whitetria. So, feel free to contact me via email or add me on LinkedIn. Would love to get your insight on anything I present today or anything in general. So, a few things about Whitetria. We've been building tools for admins since 1999. And we have lots of international customers. And the latest addition is our software, sapio365. It's specifically geared for Office 365 administration. So let's take a look at how this could help you serve your Office 365 clients better. So let me just switch my share screen. So you should see the sapio365 main page. All right. Before I go any further, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A panel. We have some panelists, and they'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. So today I will show you how a team of admins with specific responsibilities can carry out their tasks on multiple Office 365 tenants. Let me just switch back for a second. I forgot to show you. So these are the admins that we'll be looking at. Adele, who's a licensing manager, Lee, an auditor, and Alex, a teams manager. Now, all these admins, they'll be working on various tenants as part of the service providing team. Okay, so let's start here. So let's start. To save time, I basically logged in already as each admin. And let's start with Adele. So Adele has the role of a license manager, but for users who are in the marketing team. And she's only allowed to manage E5 licenses. So her task right now is basically to assign E5 licenses to new users who are onboarded to the client's tenants. So let's just open up the users. And you have a list of all the users here. Now, just looking at it, Adele can only see the ones who are in the marketing department, as you can see here. I mean, all along the top here, you have all the properties of all the users, and this is what we see. She is able to see all the other users in the tenant just by going into the Sessions tab up here and clicking on Scope Display. But you'll notice that they are grayed out. That's because she is not able to do anything, including license management, if she's choosing to select some grayed out users. Now let's just remove these disabled users, well, not disabled, but out of scope users, so I couldn't clean things up. So just by looking at this, she has 3 new users here that she has to give a license to, and we go into the Manage tab, and you will notice that all the other features are grayed out, and that's because the role that was created for her restricts her from doing anything other than license management. So once we click this, and we have it. Now we have, oops, excuse me. All right, so now we start off with the licenses, and you'll see that they are unlicensed, right? Select them all, and just edit the licenses to assign the Enterprise Premium licenses that she has available. Now notice that she will not be able to assign the other licenses because we've restricted that as well. So this is just to show really that you can make this roles as granular as you wish. I'm just applying this here, and all I have to do is select it. And this is just to show you that all the changes you do here in sapio365 are done in a two-tier system, which allows you to review the changes you make before saving them, actually. Okay. So now that she's done with this, let's assume we saved it because we're going to keep that for another demo. So now that she's done with that, she's been asked to delete 2 users in another client's tenant. So she has to change her role. All we have to do is go back to the main window here and choose a new role that's specific for the task at hand. And so it's in this one here. She's the regional admin for users in Canada. So 2 users have left the company, Diego and Joanna, and she has to basically delete them. So clicking on this role, it uses the credentials that she needs, and she's signed in. And now let's open up the new users. And you can see here that these are in fact on this other tenant. Obviously, it's a little confusing because, I mean, we're always using the same names. They are demo tenants, but just bear with me. So here we have Joanna and Diego, and we have to delete them. And before we delete them, of course, let's check if they have a manager assigned to them. And we can see quite quickly that they do not. Now, if we were had to do this for a large number of users, what we could do to make this simpler, like this checklist basically, is just group it by manager display name. Just do this, and I can see that these are my users who don't have a set manager. Now, this is important because once you delete the user, nobody in your organization will have access to their OneDrive files. So it's always important to have a manager set for them. So Diego and Joanna are right here. Let me set a manager for them. I will just pick Patty because Patty is our president. Okay, and they show up right over here with a little icon that says that they are being changed. Well, let's do the other 2 as well. You know, might as well just foresee some future problems. Let's pick Patty as well. Here you go. Now I could just select them all, and I do save all or save all. So now I'm saving my changes. All my users have managers assigned to them. And I can continue with the request to delete these 2. All I have to do is this, delete. Now, if ever I change my mind, all I have to do is go to the recycling bin and restore them from here. It's similar to what you have in the admin centers. However, here you have access to their licenses, their OneDrive files, the messages, as long as they still exist, of course, within the 30-day buffer zone. All right, so let's move on to our next role. And let's go to the main window right here. So now we're going to sign in as Lee. And Lee is an auditor, meaning that he can only look at things, and he will never be able to change anything. His role is such that he basically has to contact the people responsible. So now we're signed in as Lee, and he's tasked with tracing a recent email that was sent out by mistake, and to let the Exchange admin know from which mailboxes so that the admin can basically delete them. So let's look at all our users. So Lee has no restriction here looking at any of the users. So he has them here. You just have to select them all and grab their messages. Now here, we give you the option that because mail can be very heavy to load. So sometimes all you're looking for is just the subject line, like in our case. So right now, I don't need to see the mail preview, so I'm just going to turn that off. All I really care about is the emails. Private chats have nothing to do with what I'm looking for. And I know that this email was sent within the last week. So what I'm doing is I'm just lightening the load right now because I'm doing this for every user in the tenants. So once I do this, it takes a bit of time, but that's normal. Most of our, the loading time, I mean, it depends on the reactivity of the Graph API, the Office 365 service, as well as your machine, because this is installed locally on your PC. So if you have a powerful machine, that certainly helps. Okay, this should be finished in the right now. There you go. Okay, so now we have our users and all the emails that they have. Some of them don't have, these three you can see don't have any emails set up at all, while others may have nothing at all in their email because this is a demo tenant. Now, we can see right here that there is a column that's called subject. And since I already know the subject that I'm looking for, the subject of the email I'm looking for, I'm just going to group this. Will make things much easier to find. Here you go. And I was looking for this. Let's try this because it was an email that was sent out to so many people. Clearly, I can see that it was sent by Henrietta Mueller, and it was sent to all these people. In fact, I can just go a little bit, scroll further down, and here are the recipient names. So if there were, even if it was, let's say, sent out to externally, I would see it in here as well. All right, so now knowing all this, Lee can basically notify the Exchange admin and tell him all the mailboxes where this email is. Now, the Exchange admin ideally would, of course, use sapio365 as well. And he would have the capability to basically just select all these and do a delete. Lee is not able to because he is just an auditor. However, the Exchange admin, that's another story. He would be able to do this. All right, next, let's see. Oh, Lee has another task actually. So his client recently reinforced the organization's sharing policies and wants to make sure that no one has auto-forwarding mail rules in place that can send out sensitive data by error. So let's look at the mail rules of all the users here. Now, I've cheated here and I've already loaded these. All I have to do is click this button and this is what I'm going to see. Where is it? Mail. Nope. All right, let me just do that then. And while that's loading, I will just find it here. Oh, there you go. Okay. So this is what I get. And it didn't take much time. So again, here, volume is a big factor. I wanted to tell you an example where one of our customers, he wanted to retrieve the mail rules of 36,000 mailboxes. And he did this using PowerShell at first. And he wrote a beautiful script, and it worked. But, however, it kept asking him to re-authenticate every hour for the 13 hours plus it was estimated it would take. So he used sapio365 instead, and it did take 13 hours. And he managed to find nearly 1,200 users who were forwarding emails externally. I mean, in this demo, we only have this, right? I mean, it's pretty apparent nobody else has rules. It is a demo tenant after all. You can see it clearly here. However, I don't know if you noticed this, but we had also in our users grid here, we have a quick shortcut and how to get to what we were looking at. This show external email forwarding rules. This is what we call a job, it's a macro, it's an automated job. So what it does is it's a script that runs everything that we do manually, it runs it automatically. And it's just a quick way of accessing the information you want, doing all the various manipulations that are needed to do it. So had we clicked on this, we would have gotten this. It's a much cleaner way of seeing what you need to see. So we just remove basically everybody else's everybody else's rules that had nothing to do with forwarding, because this is what we're interested in. So at this point, the auditor Lee, he can make a report and send it to the exchange administrator saying that these people have forwarding rules in place. All right, so moving on to our third one, who is Alex. Let's just go back to the main page. I don't know if you guys have any questions. I haven't seen any, but okay. So next, let's sign in as Alex. So Alex was appointed team manager for this tenant. And amongst other responsibility, he has to make sure that teams are actually being used, that document libraries are being used properly, etc. So if we open up this user's entryway here, you'll see that there's nothing here. That's because we haven't given the right to Alex to do anything with users. I mean, as always, he could see them. You know, everybody has access to this basic information, but he can't do anything when it comes to managing. So let's just get in here into the groups, where what he's really all about. And then we can see that, well, there are 3 groups here that are teams. And really, that's because it's a demo tenant. If I look, these are the rest of the groups you can see here. Had I wanted to, had I been able to work with all the groups, I could just group them this way. It would help me focus on what I want to work with. But for this purpose, let's just go back to our 3 groups, our 3 teams, actually. They are group teams here, indicated. Now, this gives you a quick look as to what's happening with these teams. You know, when they were created on, who the owners are. You have them right here. How many members in each? I can easily like sort it, figure that out. The owners here, whether they're expiring and when are they expiring. And I would be able to renew the expiration date. So if I wanted to just restart the count of my expiration policy, I would just select them and renew them. So another interesting thing here is, oh, look at that. For some reason, this team has 2 gigs of files in the drive. So that's very interesting. And in fact, one of the tasks that Alex has to do, he has to check that there are no files that have been shared anonymously within these teams. So let's just select them all. And we load the files. All right. So what you have here is the group SharePoint library and the files and folders within each. The URL, the file size, when it was last modified. And here we have to load the permissions for the files. Now I've done this already because I wanted to just save some time. Here you go. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to just click on this button, the shared anonymous, but let's just do it here manually. Okay, why are we doing it this way? Is because if we loaded everything from the get-go, it would just take too long. So you'll notice that throughout the tool, we separate the requests because depending on really what you're looking for, you may not want to load everything. It's just going to take a lot of time. I mean, it all depends on what you want as a result. Okay, it's going to finish soon. Thanks for your patience. So here you go. So now we have the permissions loaded and everything. So with all these permissions, it's kind of difficult to find it just like this, any anonymous shares. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to group it by target. So once I do that, I can see right away who it's been shared with and how it's been shared. So these two files here, just scroll back, Canada sales and USA sales have been shared with an anonymous link. And all Alex has to do is select them and delete the permissions, and the links will no longer be active. Okay, now you could have arrived here with in a much quicker way using the automation jobs. And this is what I wanted to show you, but I showed it to you in the beginning. So this is what you would have ended up with if you were looking for much through a bigger volume of content, then the jobs just clean things up a little bit better than, say, you would do it manually. Okay, so that's it for our team roles. Now, let's get back to our main page here, and I want to show you where we control all these roles. So to do that, I have to log in with my company admin. My company admin the company admin is the only one who can see all the configuration of the roles that were created. He can create roles, he can delete them, edit them, whatever, and so forth. So let's take a look at, let's say, this role here, a regional admin. You can see that these are all the permissions that were used to create it. And these permissions all are, they are specifically the features within sapio365. So anything that you do here, any role that you create is only going to work in sapio365. It does not affect the Office 365 tenants in which you are using. And then you also can create the scopes. For instance, this is only Canada. So I created a scope that users in Canada where country equals Canada. And then I can assign people here where Adele and Henrietta. So as soon as one of them signs in sapio365, they will be given the choice of the roles that have been assigned to them. Okay. So this centralized repository of administration roles makes things a whole lot easier to manage delegation to the team, in the sense that it's quite secure since there's only one person who has access to it. Also, you have a history of the activity of your team with sapio365. So in this tab right here, user activity logs, I couldn't just basically do a little grouping of tenant and then username. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna show me what has been done in these tenants and by who. I could have easily used, let's say, the action itself. So this is pretty interesting because it does give you a way of uh, controlling governance. And as well, it could really help for billing purposes. I mean, you can see how much time your admin team has spent on certain tasks. Obviously, the tasks recorded here are only about making changes, so it's not like a full answer to it, but it does help. So now all this history and role repository is kept encrypted in a local database on the PC. There's also an option to store all that data in a Cosmos DB database as part of your organization's Azure subscription. So it's very easy to set up. I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. For this demo, I basically just clicked the button to create a Cosmos DB table using our Ytria subscription. And I assigned this demo tenant to do it. So this is it for my demo. I hope you liked it. I just want to finish up here by going back to the slides. Just a second. Okay. So I wanted to tell you how what to expect in the next release. Remember all those automatic reports, the automatic jobs that we have. Some of them are reports, some of them are actions. And what we're going to do is we're going to make it that you can schedule them. So you can run, let's say, a monthly report of teams or users without licenses or whatever it is that you want to do. And you can incorporate an automatic notification. So you'll be emailed when the job is completed, when we're talking about large volumes, and you'll have a report as an attachment in that email. And thirdly, you'll be able to create your own jobs and add them to the library that you see there. And it's not as difficult as you think. It is XML script, but we will be creating documentation to help with that. Besides, all you can, if you really want to try it, you can just download one of the jobs and modify certain things, and you'll see how easily it works. Okay, well, to summarize, sapio365 basically lets you see the big picture. That's important when the picture is changing, right? It has lots of rich features that show you the hidden issues that you wouldn't normally see. Things that you wouldn't really go looking for, but when you have it in front of your face, it's hard to hide from that. And you can make bulk changes, just like with PowerShell, but without any coding and without going in blind. Finally, you can manage multiple tenants all from one place and delegate just about any task on a specific set of users, groups, or sites. So ultimately, you'll be better serving your Office 365 clients. So this is it for my presentation. And I hope you have lots of questions brewing in your head. If you do, please contact us at customer@ytria.com or even send me an email at spunarjin@ytria.com. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you next time. I'll be doing more demos, and thank you very much for showing up, and thank you very much for being here.